Welcome to the It Matters podcast. I'm your host, Walter Perez, and let's dive in as we help you grow your mindset and elevate your leadership. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the It Matters podcast. Man, I'm so glad you're joining me today. Hey, I thought I'd bring you another solo episode, and I've been thinking about a couple things because I'm realizing that depending on when you're listening to this, it's the month of June, and we are about to go into full summer mode around here. And for some of you, you're planning maybe a getaway, a summer vacation, and you're thinking of, taking time off. In other scenarios, some of you are, throughout the year, maybe you think about long weekends or these different times that you try to get away, which I'm a huge advocate of, and I think it's a great idea. Like some of you do such a great job of implementing. We call them sabbaticals, vacations, time offs, opportunities to go on retreats and refuel and all that, and I think they're all great. But I wanted to chat a little bit about how does your time in look like? Time in, like when you are in the zone and you are hustling, working, and you're doing your thing and you are executing and being productive. How do you lead your time in? And so I wanted to chat a little bit about that because I think it's great that we can plan time off. It's great that we can plan vacations and try to rest. But let me say this. If you do not know how to plan your time in when you are working and how to actually execute that properly, your time outs and your vacations and your holidays and all that are not going to be that effective. If your time in is not on purpose, your time outs are not going to be that great. And so I wanted to chat a little bit about that, and I wanted to bring an awareness to this idea because I think some of us need to be reminded that how we are doing life on a daily basis when we're building our businesses, working on our organizations, doing our jobs, like what are we doing, and are we doing it with the proper mindset so we can have longevity in the industry we're working in, or forget about just the industry you're working in, but longevity in your life. Like, are you here and being mindful that you wanna be around for a long time? If you have kids, you want to have the energy for your kids and for your grandchildren in the future, or friends and family, whatever scenario you're in. Are you being mindful of the time in? And it's very important because I think we live in a culture where we want to be hustling. We got to work hard. We got to do hard things. We got to go, 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 which I'm not against that. But I think when we're only about that, when we're 100% only about hustling, it can become very dangerous. And one thing that I'm learning as I'm getting older and I'm getting around people that are older than me, and I get around mentors and coaches, and I get around people that can speak into my life, and I'm learning from their experiences, or I'm learning from what they've done. I'm actually kind of realizing that it's not 100% about the hustling. It's not 100% about just go, 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 go and max out my hours and max out my days and weeks and put in as much of as I can into one day or 1 week. There actually has to be some wisdom in how I lead my days and my projects and whatever I'm working on. We gotta be wise on how we do this, and in fact, we gotta learn how to have proper rest in our time in, like in our days, in our work weeks. We have to figure out how to manage our time and manage our projects and the things that we got to do. We got to be wise on how we are doing life when we're not on vacation and so forth. And so I really want to bring attention to this because I think some of us are really bad at it. And I think I've been there too. And we actually are becoming probably more ineffective, and we're not actually being as productive as we think we are because we think we're going, we're doing, and we look busy, but we're actually not being productive. And so I wanted to bring some things to this podcast so we can kind of chat a little bit about that. And maybe one of those things is that we've talked about before about saying no to things, and sometimes we think because something's urgent, we think that it's important and we got to get it done now. And one thing that I've learned is just because it's urgent doesn't mean it's important. We have to be able to know how to navigate different things that we're going through so the urgent doesn't steal away from the things that actually need our attention. So that's one thought I want to bring to the table is start thinking in what you're doing today and whatever it is, whatever industry, whatever you're leading, whatever business, whatever project, whatever it is, start thinking about everything that you have on the table. Does it actually require your attention? Which then would lead me to the next thought is that maybe as leaders, we need to learn how to delegate more. We don't have to be the man, we don't have to be the woman, we don't have to be the person that has to deal with everything. Even if you're the boss man, even if you're the leader, even if you're at the top of the chain, at the top of the ladder, and you think that everything has to run through you, I got to tell you, no, I don't think everything has to run through you. And so you have a leadership problem, and you're going to have to figure out how to delegate responsibility, delegate decision making, and you're going to have to learn how to trust a little bit if you're going to be in this for the long term. And in fact, if you're not thinking like this, and if you think that you got to be the one and the only one that has to make decisions, I guarantee you this, you're going to end up capping yourself and you're going to end up capping your organization. And whatever you're doing is never going to grow beyond your leadership, because you are going to be the ceiling or the cap that keeps it stuck where it is. And it's going to be counterintuitive because you actually want it to grow, you want to win, and you're not going to allow it to do that because you are keeping it there, because you're not Superman and you can't do everything and you can't be everywhere. So those are some skill sets that we're going to have to learn. And so having a team and being able to, pass that on has to be a priority. I think that we as leaders need to practice when we are in it, that we got to practice some sort of using some sort of daily planner, agendas. We got to be on purpose in planning our days, because depending on how many hours you want to work, sometimes we think we're being productive, but we're actually just filling our days with different things. And we end up at the end of the day realizing, oh my goodness, I still got a lot of things to do. And did you actually get the things that you needed to get done? And so by writing it down, by having a plan, you've heard me talk about that before, by having a strategy, I really think that you spending the time doing planning, strategic planning, getting things on paper, creating a game plan on what your week may look like or your month may look like, those hours that you put into that are not wasted time. In fact, it will allow you to be effective, strategic. You can actually be focused. You can cross out things that can be passed on to somebody else. You can narrow in on the things that you're good at. Because at the end of the day, as leaders, there are certain things that land on our responsibility that only us can do, only we can do, and only we can do it the best way because it's been put on our plate. And so we have to learn how to do that and pass on those other little details that, yeah, we can do, but other people can. And so when we start creating daily planners and we start journaling and writing things down so we can visually see what is going on, we can now make a game plan, a roadmap on how to get to where we need to get. And so as we start working that out, I believe that you're going to start being more effective, and you're going to be able to say, okay, this is what I got to do. And it's very clear, and you can do a checkmark system if you want. What I also like about that is that at the end of the day, at the end of the week, end of the month, you can look back and go, oh, look what I got done. Look what I didn't get done. You need to tweak and adjust and pivot, whatever it is. And you can adjust along the way so you can get more and more effective and learn as you go. And so I think that is one thing that we have to just learn to practice and really, really hone in on, because if we do that, I think it's going to set us up to win in reality. As we start really navigating through our schedules, we start realizing, oh look, I'm getting burnt out, or I'm getting super busy. I don't have time for these other things. The reality is that when we get all super excited about a project or something that we're doing or in the season we're in, something else gives. And sometimes, unfortunately, that's our families, that's our children, that's our relationships that matter the most to us. And we justify thinking, well, I'm busy or I'm trying to win. And I'm not against that. Like, there are seasons that we do have to do some extra work and we have to work hard, and we gotta be focused and busy. But the problem is when that gets out of hand and it becomes just a habitual practice, and it ends up being an all-time thing. If you can be focused and say, well, I know that this month is just going to be super busy, but at the end of that, I'm going to be able to chill a little bit and create a better balanced work habit, then that's awesome. But we need to be realistic and stop running ourselves to the ground, because what ends up happening is we end up burning ourselves out, and true burnout can take us out for weeks, months, and can cause other things, and they can ripple into a chaotic scenario, a chaotic storm in our lives that sometimes we can't get back up from, or it ends up shifting what we got to do, and we end up even quitting or failing because we don't know how to handle it at that point, and it could have been preventable if we do the right work now. And so I really want to encourage all of you leaders out there to really stop and think, how are you leading your days? How are you working right now? And you think you might have the energy, and there's something to be said about that, but be wise on how you use your energy and your time, your focus, your mind, your different levels of energies that you have in your life. Be careful on how you do that, and be honest, and trust yourself that your body might be giving you warnings saying, hey, you're getting too stressed out. Hey, physically, you're feeling pain. Your body is telling you that you're getting sick a lot. Hey, your body is telling you that you need to sleep. And you're not being a hero by trying to just plow through. And like I said, sometimes there's little exceptions here and there, but overall, we should start listening to our bodies. We should start listening to our minds. We should take it to the next level and start listening to some relationships that actually matter around us, and sometimes hear the warning signs, not only hear them, but see them, that it's actually affecting them negatively. And I think another thing to also remember, when we're in it and we're doing it and working hard and doing all that, don't forget of why you're doing it. I'm a huge advocate of really talking about the why. I think the why is way more important than the what. And if we're all truly honest with ourselves, the what always has a why hidden behind it. And if we don't see the why, we're either being a little bit delusional, lying to ourselves, or we're just not trying to accept the truth of why we're doing what we're doing. And sometimes our whys can be negative, but typically we have some positive whys in there. And I think if we have clarity on our why, if most of us really stop and thinking, okay, I want to have, a good family life, a good home life. I want to be able to provide for my kids, for my family, and that is my why. I want to be able to be there when they get older. I want to be able to provide for them and have the energy to be around them. I want to be able to be a great example. I want to be able to set them up. I want to encourage them. I want to be able to give to them, whatever it is. If that's your why, but then you go to work and you start working on your business or whatever you're doing, and you're overworking, and you think that in the short term, in the now, it's worth sacrificing some of that, but it's actually hurting your family. I don't know if you're going to show up on the other end of that, however many months or years it is, and if you're going to be actually proud of who you've become or what you've created in your family, because of you thought that all you needed to do is work, work, work to get to that. and you're missing some pinnacle moments. You're missing out on moments right now that you can be spending time with your family and while still working hard and providing for them. Yeah, I think you really got to dissect that and really think about that, because sometimes we think so futuristic, which, by the way, I think we should have a dream and we should have vision for our lives. 100% we should. But we think so much in the future, and we continue to reach for something, and we're missing out what's in front of us today and right now. And we're forgetting that this moment actually does matter. And this is the thing. None of us know how long we're going to be on this earth. None of us know how far in advance we're going to be hanging out and being able to do all those things we do want to do. And I hope you do, and I hope you can. But the reality is nobody has been guaranteed tomorrow. And so I think it's an art to kind of figure out, I want to be able to dream. I want to be able to provide. I want it to be able to continue to grow. I want to be able to move forward. But I also want it to be present. And I want to make sure I'm not missing out on some responsibilities that I need to be present for today. And so some of us are going to have to learn that in our time in the busy seasons, there's things that we say yes to, there's things that we say no to, and there's things that we're just going to have to go and say, hey, I've done well. I am actually doing good. And these things have to go to somebody else, or those are just going to have to wait for tomorrow. And if you start practicing, and in fact, when you start creating great disciplines, by the way, you're going to become so productive that you're actually going to win. You're never going to be living your life in a sense of like, oh man, I always have something to do. Oh, man, I'm always leaving things behind. I'm always having things on my table and never getting them done. Well, the better you get at this, the more you do it, and the more discipline, and create great habits, and you invest in your own leadership, and you learn these skill sets that you do have, and you work on your strengths and not your weaknesses, and you hire people and you bring people on your teams that are going to be a benefit to you and make you better. It's incredible how everybody wins. You win, your business, your company, your organization wins, the people that you have around you win. It's a win-win. It's a win-win when the leader leads well. And so when we start being mindful of that, I wanted to bring this episode because it seems like common sense, or it seems like, oh, of course, I've heard that, Walter. But the thing is that sometimes we hear it, it goes in one ear, it goes out the other, and we don't do anything about it. Information and knowledge, it only goes so far, and we need to apply it, and we need to actually try it. And the worst thing that we can do is saying, well, that's not for me, that's only for the other guy. No, you need to actually give it a try, and you need to humble yourself and actually put some good habits into practice in your life so that you can lead your business well, your organization well, you can lead your family well, you can lead yourself well, and you can have longevity, but you can also do the things, you can pay attention to the things that really matter: your health, your family, quality time with your kids, having fun. Have you ever heard of that? Having fun and excitement in your life. It doesn't have to be boring. It doesn't have to be stressful. It doesn't always have to be tiring. What you do should be life-giving. And if it's not life-giving because there's so many different things going on, it's time to reassess what your time in looks like. It really is time to pause and readjust and start doing things a little bit different, and be willing to learn, be willing to grow, be willing to admit that you were wrong, be willing to learn that or admit that you don't know everything and that you're going to have to do certain things different. And when you do that, it's going to make you a better leader. You're going to be happy. You're going to be joyful. You're going to actually experience in your life things that actually give you energy and actually set you up for the next thing that you have to do. And you're going to be in this, and you're going to actually feel not only productive, but be productive. And you're going to maximize your potentials in ways that you've never even thought of. And so that means that you're going to have to do things a little bit different. And you can't always do the things that you've always done in the same way you've always done it, because sometimes those things are not working. And so I want to help you and encourage you to maximize your potential. And some of you are capping yourself because you think there's only one way to do things, and that's not true. It's not true. And so I hope that you would at least stop and just assess whatever you have to do. You know what you're doing and what you can let go of and what you can tweak and what you can adjust in, but you got to do it. So then when you do choose to have vacation time, when you do have to choose to have intentional rest time, oh my goodness, it's going to be another layer of empowerment, and you're going to actually do do great when you come back into work, but you're also going to do great while you're off work, and you're actually going to heal, and you're going to be rested, and you're going to actually enjoy it. And that's not going to be rest is not going to be a swear word. It's not going to be like, oh, I'm doing it because I got to do it, but I don't want to be here because there's so much to do. No, you get to learn how to let go. You get to stop being a control freak, and you realize that boundaries are a healthy thing to do. Boundaries in your time off are great, but boundaries in your time in are so crucial, because if you don't, you're going to come to a point in your life that life is going to tell you you don't have a choice, but you're going to have to slow down, and you're going to have to take time off. And it's not going to be pretty, because you're going to have consequences that come with that, and they're not going to be ones that you enjoy. So I really want you to think about that. This is meant to be an encouragement. How does your time in look like? Think about that. Shoot me a message, email me, comment, like, share this if you think somebody needs to hear this, because this is something important. Let's talk about this. Let's be on purpose about this, and let's make sure that we're being as effective as we can, not just busy and not just doing things because we think that that's what we need to do. Let's actually get to the point where we're effective, maximizing our potential and being productive in that. And we're going to win on all aspects of our lives. I hope this encourages you. I'm going to leave you with this. I want to encourage you to continue to dream big, to grow always, and lead well. Catch you in the next episode.